So we're going to see prices fluctuate. It's going to be a volatile market and just things to keep look out for based on some current tournament results we have in. So first things first, as always, I like to start with the sealed product. And also while I'm at this, guys, if you guys enjoy this content, I'd appreciate if you could like, comment, subscribe to this channel, and let me know what you guys think about these videos. But anyway, sealed product. We start with 1.0 in the top end, $150 a box roughly. It makes sense. It's old, out of print still, nothing new there. And then we look at the bottom end, classic collection, $50. The box is like not that good for classic still, guys. Like even if we do high to low, you barely plus with the analog, and then after that you just barely break even or get value. So there's lots of cool cards. If you want the cards, buy the singles. It's just going to be your best way to get value from the set. Next, I want to talk about Next Adventure, BT7. This is like the second newest set, and a lot of people are skipping past it now. But some things to keep in mind, there's actually lots of decent pulls in the set. Like the X-Antibody stuff, the Lucemons and the Susanos are like your main things you're going for. But like, if you think about like the guaranteed value you get, like yes, you get one secret, one alt art is typically the ratios, or two alt arts. But if we look, you also do get the alt art memory boost packs, and a lot of those have gone up. They are gaining value, especially yellow memory boost, as it will see play this format, and blue memory boost, it will see play this format. Purple is going to be the one that falls the furthest behind, but you also get like that box topper pack with the alt art tamer, which is roughly like a $5 card. So we're talking like $10 off of like what a box is. It's pretty good value, especially if you get a decent alt art. So just something to keep in mind. I don't think it's a bad set to open. I haven't touched on these in a while, but these are the Judge Stamp cards. If you guys aren't aware what these are, if you judge an official Bandai event, you get roughly like 20 to 40 packs of these, and you get one card per pack. But we see like on the low end, you have like the banned Mega Digimon Fusion cards. It's like the dud card of the pack. We got all these Evo for 1 blockers for each color. If I had to guess what these cards will sell at price-wise, the ones that don't come in the starter deck, being Pidomon, Sealomon, and Monochromon, they're going to be like 25-ish bucks. And the ones that are exclusive to starter decks, like Kabuterimon, Dark Tyrannomon, and Devimon, probably settle a little higher, like 35-ish bucks, 40-ish bucks. But if you want them now, you have to pay a premium now. So I'd be patient, give it time. There's a lot of events coming up soon, so ideally the market will be more saturated. And don't even get me started on like these three up here. The Greymon, yes, he will hold a big premium. What do I think he'll settle at? Realistically, if you look at old tournament packs, like the high end, the Diaboromon in his prime, he was like 80, 90 bucks, I think. So that's what I would expect like the Greymon to settle at. So you can probably get copies for 100 realistically. The Wargray, you don't really see much play anymore, but he'd probably be like a lot closer to like a $70 range once he settles. And that's the key word for everything here, like when it settles. That means when there's an appropriate amount of supply. Supply is very lacking right now, which is why it has a higher price. I won't talk about this that much or any more now. Move on to our next thing. So, New Awakening, as we can see, I can do a refresh here. We might even see changes. The pre-sale has been lifted. Prices will be shifting. You will see stuff go up and down a lot more now. Typically, it's going to be on the downside. But we can get an idea like how well things are priced. Like Davis Ken box toppers were like 25 for the longest time. They're going down to 12s. You see Chimeramon, he's settling around 10. Box toppers are at reasonable prices. Magnemon's like 9. I think he's a little high right now. But like this was like 60 bucks in pre-sales. Like we're seeing prices dip down. And I'll be touching up on some of these cards here in a moment. But just keep in mind these prices will be moving a lot. So first thing I want to talk about though, we had our first big tournament of BT8. This was with starter decks. So keep this in mind when we look at results. But Yellow Rapid Hybrid was the deck that took it all, followed by a bunch, and I mean a bunch, of blue-green Imperials and other Yellow Rapid Hybrids. Do have a blue hybrid sneaking in there. But just to get an idea, this was I think this is like the 4th place deck. This was the 1st place deck. Key cards, Starter Deck Patamon, the Yellow Hybrid Package, Susanomon and Yellow Memory Boost are the cards I want to pay the most attention to, because it will be the thing that's similar between all builds. Now, the purple stuff is kind of like the variation of this deck, so you can use some other options, which I think is really neat, but it's not necessarily like the most common way to build it. But starter patas, you guys can tell, like, people saw results and they started buying these out and buying these up. So if you want max rarity, this is going to be pretty high dollar now to get your champion ones. The regular ones are just $7 a pop to begin with. So this is where the yellow star deck finally like has a lot of value. And then you need your rapid mons for the deck. For a tier 1 SR, or arguably tier 0 in Japan, I think $5 is very fair. And the alt arts being at 35s, I'm honestly considering scooping right now. I think these are a very fair price. I'll give it a little bit, see if I get them for 30s before I pull the trigger. Next, Susano was a staple. This is a 2 of. This card is a lot, and I mean a lot easier to use now. Cody is a strong enabler of the Susano because at start of main phase, you gain extra memory. So in a classic build, what you'll do is you'll have your TK fixer, you promote your Patamon, then your main phase starts, 4 Cody's proc, giving you 4 memory, putting you at 7, so you can already go into Susano just from your starting memory, not even counting the 4 boosts you have potentially in play. So just keep that in mind as we're doing builds. I expect this card to actually go up in the near future if Yellow Rapid Hybrid becomes Uber Tier 1/0. And then Yellow Memory Boost was the other card. I mentioned these are good box toppers like the alt art ones. Well, these are starting to go up. $10 for a very playable alt art memory boost. Not to mention the pancakes. I love it. These arts are all really cute. But as you can see, it's just been going up and people are buying them for roughly $10 to $12 now. So that's Yellow Rapid Hybrid, one of the decks. Next is Blue-Green Imperial. There's like 2 ways to build it. It's basically starter deck plus Davis's and Davis Ken's. Or it is a little bit more of a green focus that uses HPD, and some builds use the Mimi. But, so like, I'm not going to cover what the starter deck cards are. You get 2 of them in a starter. 2 of the key ones in starter decks. You get 2 starter decks, you have most of this deck. Cards you won't have are the Demi V-Eggs, which you can see roughly $1 for the regular ones. Probably $2 with shipping if I had to guess. Yeah, it's closer to $2 with shipping. But like the high rarity ones, $10 for the stamped one from DigiFest, $70 for the Ultimate Cup one. I think that's a pretty decent value. You get your jamming VMons or your restand VMons, your Star Deck VMons, EX1 VMons. We have quite a few of them. There's no reason this one should be $11 though. Just give it time. The Star Decks are out. They're like $13 MSRP. So real quick. But $152, it's roughly $20 per card. I wouldn't pay more than $25 per card. You'll see them shift, like the good ones will be worth more, the bad ones will be worth less, but $25 is what I would expect it to go to. So we talked about Imperial, we talked about Tamer Evolution Box 2. Let's talk about X Antibody. This was our highest performing X Antibody deck in the event. And this is the one with the new Orumon package with the Alphamon. No Doragoramons, but some builds do run it. But Sunarisamon is a 4 of. Take a look. Sunarisamon. He's like $20, $25. Really good time to scoop him. He's past his bottom point of being sub 20. And I think he's only going to go up from here until the next set. But for the time being, his supply has been eaten up and the demand is starting to overtake it. And then we've seen the regular arts of these. A lot of them are pretty reasonable. I think the alts is what's more sought after for these decks. We can compare Dorumon to Ryudamon for alt arts. They're rookie spots. They're both 4 ofs. So it would make sense their prices are the same. The Alphamon, though, spiked recently. He was hovering like $60 for the longest time, being at 80. It's like the boss monster for the deck. It looks really sharp. And then Oryumon's like the new support. I can really see it being comparable to Doragoramon for its lifetime and price. It'll probably hold a bit more premium because it is better in the long run. But I can see him realistically being $30 for the upcoming future. So that's X Antibody. Our next deck is Mastermon. This deck actually underperforms. Like, if we look here, Mastermon didn't come until 13th place, which isn't bad, but then the next one's 22nd, and it just keeps dropping really fast. This isn't the easiest deck in the world to play. I consider it a very high skill cap deck. So if you like the Lilith Loop, this is kind of like your new loop deck. You have lots of control-heavy plays. But cards that are important for the deck, I've talked about before, Magna Angemon, $40 for regular SR, $52 for the alt. Then the Lusamon Chaos modes, roughly $30, roughly $55. I mean, the prices are fair. I don't expect it to change much. Defeats, I think they're also fair. This deck's expensive already, and it's not going to get much more expensive. Unless this deck starts taking over events, which I don't think it will, the prices are sticking. And then our last deck I want to talk about. I want to talk about the Black or Gray deck. We have seen, this used to be the go-to deck for format because it countered yellow and blue hybrid decks with the Mega Digimon Fusion Susano combo, because Black or Gray could pop an analog youth and a memory fixer easily, slowing down those decks. But because there's not the analog youth as frequently in format, it's slowed down. It's not as much as the deck in format a lot of people are expecting it to be. But it's still nice to keep in mind promos we have for it. The Agumons, roughly $12-13 each. I think it's fair. Similar thing with the Greymons. We kind of got hosed on these being reprinted, but $20 per copy, it's going to be the going rate unless we get a new reprint. But just keep in mind, you can probably run other Greymons over this one if you don't want to put money into the deck. Then Black or Grays for the top end. $35 for the alt art for the new one. I think that's pretty fair for a new card, but I think it's still pricey. I would hold off on the alts. Then we have the Secret Black or Gray being roughly $20, the Dash Pack one being roughly $2. So just things to keep in mind for your options. You could also run War Greymons. I didn't pull those up. War Greys and Digimon though. The red ones are going to be the ones you look at first. It's like the option negating one. And you could use the EX1 one. I don't think it's horrible. And then last card I want to talk about is Nokia. Nokia is the tamer that is like a 3-4 of consistently in these decks. And the fixer is either Marcus or Euro, just depending on what build you want to go for. And guys, I just kind of want to touch up Armor Rush. It's a really cool deck, but I can just hop over here. Armor Rush has a key card in Magnamon, which will have an X antibody next set, which will have the price be a bit higher than normal for alt arts. It also looks nice. Flamedramon, I think he will go down in the long run, because this is like the one format he's super relevant in that I'm aware of. And then the other armor, the Lydramon, he's just rare. So like we could look at the stamped version, but I don't see a reason to for the time being. If you guys enjoy this content, I really do appreciate it if you can like, comment, subscribe. With that being said, take care, y'all.